The heart of high school wrestling is here in Adams County, and nobody covers it like WZBD.
You guys got a heck of a view.
It's time for Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly.
Everybody wants to be there.
It's the coolest thing in the world.
90 minutes of interviews, results, discussions, and prognostications.
I'm excited.
As Hall of Famer Rex Brewer and Dane Fuelling bring you another episode.
We hope that you can join us here
Live from
The Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill.
on Channel Z,
I'm excited.
92.7 FM.
Well, good morning, wrestling fans, and welcome to the lobby of the Gainbridge Fieldhouse, downtown Indianapolis. Rex Brewer and Dane Fuelling, Josh Gaskill, and it's always great to be back in Indianapolis. That tells us that it's the end of the wrestling season, and we are ready for the state championships. And Dane, 18 weeks ago, we started our first show, and it seems like this season has just flown by, and here we are. We're at state championship weekend.
Yeah, we've been we put a lot of mileage on all of our vehicles and spent a little money on hotels over the time period, but it's all been worth it. And obviously we had the girls' state finals in January, and now here for the boys' state finals. And the season rolls on whether or not we like it or not, and we certainly need to make sure that we enjoy these 2 days. We've got a really good show planned for you. We've got storylines to talk about. We're going to provide you a recap of who's wrestling when, especially today, as it's a little bit confusing for those who are only casual fans. And we've got a lot of backstories to talk about, whether it is personalities, whether it's team scores, all of those things. Really looking forward to it. Of course, we're also juggling girls basketball semi-states this weekend, along with the boys wrestling state finals. So if you want to hear us, and you're desperate to hear us, YouTube's always the place to go. We are going to, of course, cede a little bit of time to the girls basketball team at Belmont tomorrow because of their game at Logansport, and that's super, super exciting. I know yesterday they did the parade for the 6 boys. They brought the cheerleaders out. They brought the band out. They marched them through the school, and they had the entire girls basketball team as well. Josh, you were telling me about how South Adams did theirs. What did they do?
They started theirs a little bit later in the day. I believe 10:30 was going to be their senior send-off, and Nathan Wynn stopped over. Coach Nathan Wynn for their South Adams Starfire stopped over last night, and he said we better not have a 2-hour or 3-hour delay because then Dakota didn't get his walk. So they're probably on their way down here, loaded up, and so it's a kind of a neat moment for Dakota and the Starfires.
Well, earlier this week you had the radio auction on Wednesday night. Last night we had the Pacers. We're here in the home of the Pacers for our show for the next 90 minutes, and then we'll come back on the air once we make our way into the arena to our usual spot, and we'll start our coverage somewhere around 2:30, and we'll bring you Rex. I know you always enjoy it. I always enjoy calling it with you. I love broadcasting the Parade of Champions because we spend so much time talking to those people, to those wrestlers throughout the year, and to see them all enjoy that moment. Everybody's on cloud 9 when it comes to that point in the day.
You know, I mentioned that a little bit in my storyline and my homework assignment for the week that Dane assigned to us, but that is something a lot of times people look at it and say, oh, it's just kind of a bunch of guys walking around. If you're one of those guys walking around, it's pretty special. It's
pretty special. So we're going to talk about our schedule for the rest of the week. We're going to give a shout-out to all of our sponsors. We got a lot of extra sponsors this weekend, guys. We're bringing in the 4th member of our crew later on today. He's going to be in charge of reading those good luck wishes. And you've heard him all week on 92.7 FM. The studio did a great job. It is not easy to have Saturday. At what time do we find out who makes it? 2 o'clock? A shout-out to the sales team for getting it all together. A shout-out to all of our sponsors and the studio for putting all of those good luck wishes together. And it just certainly speaks to what we were talking about in our group chat on Sunday, I think it was. Why is it important? It's important, especially for our Z-Team guys and our Z-Land guys, because it means something to people. You look at people that are walking across the street. Josh and I ran into some on our way here. Why are some of those people there? Because they know it means something to the people in Decatur. And why is it extra important for our guys from Belmont and Adams Central and South Adams? because it means something different to the people of Adams County compared to a lot of other places in Indiana.
You know, and we're very fortunate that we have a community that those people who have businesses, you know, they put their hard-earned money out there for us to be on the air and to support these kids. And I've listened to Steve Rouse read them all week long, and I mean, a lot of people stepped up with state sponsorships for the boosters this week.
We are still hoping for an interview, a promised interview with Assistant Commissioner Robert Falcons. We'll also be speaking to some of the officials for this weekend. And then after that, we are going to jump into the aforementioned homework assignment that I gave Rex and Josh. And that is, what's a storyline you're following this weekend? What's something that that you're tracking throughout the weekend and at the end of the night on Saturday that you're going to be able to look back and say, wow, that was a lot of fun to keep track of. So we'll talk about that in our third period, and then we'll make sure that we remind you of what the schedule is going to look like. A reminder really quick that wrestling begins at 150 pounds this afternoon. And so for us, that's especially important because, of course, we have 2 Adams County wrestlers in the state finals here at 150. And then we go from there all the way down to the heavyweights. We'll take a quick break. We will go off the air. We will switch YouTube videos, and we'll come back, and we'll be ready to go for the 106s. Of course, we don't have anybody at 106, 113, or 120. It'll be until Dakota Sprunger comes up that we'll have somebody to call. But we'll continue to update you on the big matches that go through. And then we'll go all the way up until really what could be a bang-bang finish for us on WZBD with Henry Farreau and Parker Barnes and Gabe Myers. They could all be on the map presumably at the same time as it goes. And then we'll take a deep breath, Rex and I don't know, Josh, you going out with us tonight?
We'll see. My body's held up so far, and we're
all healthy as of now.
5 minutes into it.
I think in the group text was he had asked for permission. He didn't have the nod yet, but
she's listening.
you know, I had to step up because Dane said, "Hey, can you take me over there?" So I got to take my kids out. So
it'll be fun. We will be at the hangar. That will be via Indiana Matt, and we'll just be able to talk about the reactions from the first night, and yeah, it's going to be fun.
Here's a hint from last year. Rex Brewer reminds himself, don't let them use your headsets because you have to stay to the end.
Yeah, that's true. Don't give up any of your equipment so that you can. We're really excited for this weekend, and we've got a lot of things planned for you. We've got a ton of advertisers, and we sincerely hope that we've got, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
Guys advancing on to tomorrow from our area. And we've also got a special adopted Z-Land wrestler, and that's Jackson Bradley this weekend. We see another Z-Land wrestler who's just entered the building over there. Parker Barnes is in the house representing Bluffton and Wells County and the ACAC. We've got Jax Litchfield wrestling at 190 representing Heritage in the ACAC, and just a lot of people locally that we've been following all over the state over this year, getting ready to wrestle in the state finals.
You know, Dana, you're very fortunate on those years that you get guys through Friday night. There was a lot of years we came down to broadcast and did not get anybody through Friday night, and it makes your weekend as a spectator interesting. I mean, we covered rounds and stuff and then looked for local guys, but there's been years where we did not have a lot of people participating in the state finals, and the better your teams are and the more representation you have, the more exciting the weekend becomes, so you actually feel like you're doing something.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to call as many matches for the local guys as possible, but we've kind of made it our mission the last couple of years. Regardless of the advancement of our local guys, we'll continue to call all the rounds all the way to the finals. Obviously, I would love to have somebody local in the finals tomorrow night, but we're going to call it either way. We are probably going to get kicked off, and I'll be happy if we do get kicked off because that means that the Belmont girls are playing in a semi-state championship game, something that they've never done before. That's at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Ed Thurman's been texting me. He's been getting fired up for the pre-match. We've got Matt Conversay doing the game tomorrow morning. Ed Thurman's calling a game in the afternoon at Snyder, and then coming down to Logansport. Dave Nathan's potentially coming from LaPorte to Logansport if Norwell lose in the first round. Matt Conversay's driving the bus and putting the headset on, doing double duty tomorrow. We got a lot of people who are wearing a lot of hats And I hope that all of our listeners appreciate that, because it's not easy to take time out of your day to do all those things.
Well, as tomorrow, since you will be doing the technology, running that, I'm not too certain that this computer may or may not have WZBD up and have an earpiece in here listening to the girls' basketball game at the same time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you watching soccer matches during a wrestling game.
I don't. I try not to miss any minutes. Now the good news is Newcastle tomorrow play at 3:00, so we might not be on the air at 3:00.
Well, and like we reminded each other at semi-state, this is a good problem to have. You know, it means Adams County and Wells County is kind of showing out in the sports.
Well, guys, while we've got some officials here, let's go ahead and take a break. We'll flip-flop our order here as Commissioner Falkins hasn't made it back from the IHSAA meeting, and we'll get some word from our officials after this.
When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do if they were here? Where is the money coming from? How much should I spend? Do they want burial or cremation? The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home can help you navigate these tough questions. Make your wishes known and allow us to make sure that your wishes are carried out. Call Ryan Hirschy or Eric Zelt at 260-724-7167 to schedule an appointment today.
Shop local. It's a phrase we hear all the time, but for the staff and family at Package Liquors, it means something extra. Package, with locations in Decatur, Monroe, Berne, and Markle, is a local family-owned business that has been serving local communities for decades. We take your support and patronage and return it by supporting local athletes on WZBD and donating to different organizations across Adams County. The next time you're deciding where to shop, shop local. Shop at Package. It's where your friends shop.
Based out of the Indiana Tech Wrestling Facility, the Warrior Regional Training Center is an elite training center for youth wrestlers, high school wrestlers, and college and senior level athletes. Featuring a college coaching staff with a strong history of developing talent and producing results, Warrior RTC will give any wrestler quality training partners to push them to new levels in the state-of-the-art 25,000 square foot wrestling building. The training is affordable and private training is also available. Put Warrior RTC in your corner this season.
Welcome back once again to the lobby of Gainbridge Fieldhouse, downtown Indianapolis, home of the IHSAA state championships. And Dane, you texted Josh and I last night. They previewed the new pamphlet, and on the cover this year, last year's two-time state champion Noah Weaver, and he is a man.
Very, very cool. Mental Attitude Award winner, 215-pound state champion last year, and Rossville continues to carry the flag across the state for the little guys this year with some real hammers. We saw him at Lafayette, Jeff, when we were there in December. Was that December? Yeah,
you were
December.
there.
It was December 31st, I believe, was actually the day that it was. That was a fun day. We saw some really good wrestling for Adams Central. We are not live from the Double Eagle, but the Double Eagle is hopping all weekend. I know they're playing a lot of our broadcast over the weekend, and they'll have stuff up on the screens there. And as the ad says, it is Decatur's home for wrestling. We like to brag that it is the center of Indiana wrestling across the state.
And with the start of Lent, the fish basket was on my menu when I come home. First thing Wednesday night, I travel home from Webster, New York, and the first thing it is, went right to Double Eagle and got a fish basket to go. So their food is always fantastic. And we're joined by Kurt Crouch. And Kurt, if you have not been to the Double Eagle, when you lived in Fort Wayne, you missed out.
I did miss out. I need to make it up there for sure. One of these days.
Well, we wanted to make sure that we gave our friends, the officials, their moment in the sun here on our show to begin with. So first off, Kurt, congratulations on being selected. How many times have you officiated the state finals?
This makes number 6, so been very fortunate.
What do you remember about your first time?
That first whistle, it's pretty nerve-wracking, but once that first whistle's done, it's like riding a bike. But it was a lot of fun, and I get excited every time the rotation get back in.
No, my first state finals, our good friend Ed Krasy was with us, and Brad Williams and I had a first one. He had us little cards, little like greeting cards, and had some little joke in there, and just to kind of lighten the mood. But it's very nerve-wracking for your young. I was at the time was the youngest official ever to get it at 30 years 6 months. So
yep, it is nerve-wracking for sure, that first whistle, but a lot of fun though.
Oh, you might get kicked off here. I'll have to see how much time he's got.
The boss just arrived.
Everybody can see him. He's on camera.
Well, I know we've got some first-time officials this year.
We do.
How many of them are first-timers?
There's 2 rookies. Jeremy Aker and Brian Fuller are the 2 rookies this year.
I
was pretty excited.
I was at Belmont's middle school match on Tuesday, and the first thing that I always do is talk to the official. It was Jim Bopp, and he told me, hey, Jeremy got in. I immediately grabbed my phone, sent him a text. I was so happy for him. He is so kind to us whenever we're on the broadcast, just like Josh whenever we have him as the official. He's always holding up matches so we can get our spots in, and always good to talk to. And I know he's super excited. He told me he's got a business trip coming up this coming week. So he stayed home with his family, spent as much time, and then he said he was ready to go this morning and to be down here. What a cool moment as an official to get that call.
Yeah, he is. He's a good official. He's one of our Fort Wayne guys. We promoted a lot of them to the state finals, and he finally got the nod. So we're pretty excited about having him.
And who'd you say the other first one was?
Brian Fuller.
Okay, I saw on Facebook that he was really, really excited too.
Yep.
You guys were chuckling earlier before we went on the air about the number that you get assigned.
Yeah.
Now, Josh said that Rex's got carved in stone and Roman numerals back when he first had his. But what number did you get?
I got number 2. That's my favorite number. So
there's no significance to it.
I was born on the 2nd of the 2nd month. So
did you get to choose it?
I did not choose it.
Okay.
But I have a feeling somebody did.
Oh.
Now, did you look ahead and see what the rotation in the championships are? Yeah.
I have not looked at those, but I'm going to tell you tonight, I think it's going to be – I've not seen matchups like this in the last 10
some big
years.
Matches.
I mean, it's going to be pretty rocking in there, I think.
My first state finals, I had 106 and heavyweight.
Oh, yeah.
You get all jacked up, and then you sit for 3 hours, and you have to get all jacked up for the heavyweights.
Yeah, my first state finals, my wife sat in the Delta suite next to John Genther and Dave Palmer. So – she got quite the education, and my finals was a 5-4, and there were 10,000 boos and 10,000 claps. So it was it was a lot of fun.
You make half the people in the gym happy.
Yeah,
every
the other half.
Absolutely.
Right.
So,
well, I don't know.
I'm going to turn this over to
if Robert wants to go on, or if he's got time
sure he
to.
Does.
Thank you. Let's bring the boss on. Well, the top might be a little bit sweaty because he has no hair up there.
He can't hear anyway, so it doesn't matter what I said.
You can say whatever you want to.
Yeah, he can't hear.
That's
what makes him such a good referee. He can't hear anything.
Welcome to the show, and Dane, as always, I bribed the commissioner to come on with a High School Wrestling Weekly T-shirt, so he's got one in his pocket now. So he's been paid off, so he has to answer all the tough questions.
Nothing
now.
like wearing a shirt with Rex's face on it, right?
Exactly.
Now we don't have any tough questions like when you're going to sanction girls wrestling. That's done.
It's over.
You got over that hump.
It's over.
There's no big other questions now.
Oh yeah, you know that one. The one that we will not speak about.
Well, obviously you had a executive board meeting this morning and hustled down here, and I know from talking to you over past years in the state finals, this is always one of your favorite events.
Absolutely. This is one that the excitement and build up is all worth the effort. Watching the kids come in and get registered, the parade of champions, and then that first whistle, and away we go. So just the lead up to this is as exciting sometimes as what we do when we get on the mat.
Now, Robert, years ago when COVID hit, you put this break in the middle. I think you've made it known many times that you like that break. You like that 2-segment break, and I think as long as Robert Falcons is around, that 2-session break is going to be there, correct?
Yeah, especially on the first day. I think what we're trying to do is get our workers some time, because some of them have been here since 6 o'clock this morning, and they're going to need some time to just get something to eat.
That's like Rex time. Get here that early.
Old men get here early. You know that.
Very good. So it's something that just helps with the pace later on in the day. Guys don't get so tired late in the day and make mistakes, and so I think it's something. Some people don't like it, but I think it's better for everybody because of the fact everybody stays fresh after that little break.
People always say, "Hey, what if I don't like it?" I said, "It don't matter. Robert likes it. That's all that matters. You can not like it all you want."
Well, we made the comment too that this hosting events here and the partnership with downtown Indianapolis, I think it's also at some point the IHSAA is also responsible for making it a good weekend for people to come and take part. And I think the new segments earlier in the day and not wrestling until 10 o'clock on Friday night also benefits downtown Indianapolis greatly, because there's a lot more money spent by people now than there ever used to be.
Well, and essentially folks have a little bit more time once we're done in the evening to go out and enjoy downtown Indianapolis. It's a great place to be now. Lots of stuff to do, family-oriented stuff. So we want people to take advantage of that. You don't just come here and just come for the wrestling. There's some stuff to do in Indianapolis outside of the wrestling, and we want you to be able to take advantage of that.
Now, we're lucky at WZBD. Obviously, we were at the girls wrestling state finals. We are crossing our fingers that a couple of local divers and a breaststroker will be at IUPUI next weekend. And if we cross our fingers hard enough, we may end up with the Belmont Braves and the Norwell Knights playing right back here next week on Saturday.
That is a very good possibility that all those things will happen, and that's good for Northeast Indiana.
Yeah, we're super excited about that. We've got crews at Logansport tomorrow, at LaPorte tomorrow, and our crew here. And it's been a very, very busy week for WZBD as a radio affiliate.
Well, good for you. I'm glad we got the varsity here at Gainbridge, and I don't know about anybody else. But
Are you saying we're the A team? Is that what you're saying?
You guys are definitely, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, but as far as I'm concerned, we've got the A team, and we're very, very happy for you guys to be here.
No, Robert, since the IHSAA is based on Indianapolis, it makes it way easier for you guys to do everything. I know we was at the girls' state finals. Jason walked in and says, I forgot something. I have to go back to the office. That year we were in Evansville, you had 6 semi-trucks haul stuff down there, and you had to remember everything. That had to be a checklist of to-do things that was long and hard.
We had a 2-day checklist on that. We went down a day early. We went through everything 3 times just for that very simple reason. It's always something very small that you forget, and we were making sure we didn't forget it. We were calling back and having people on the way down, so you got to stop and get this. In Indianapolis, it makes it a lot easier because everything's right around the corner.
You know, I've had a lot of people say they didn't like that. I tell you what, I think for the one-time thing you had to do, I think that IHSAA did a fantastic job. I think Evansville was a great host. We enjoyed the weekend. My only thing is it was cold. It was so blasted cold that week. This weekend, I think you must have talked to the weather gods because if it hits 60 degrees this weekend and you have a lot of people walking down town, that makes the weekend way more enjoyable.
They had a concert here last night. We'll wrestle tonight and tomorrow night, and then the Pacers play on Sunday. So this is going to be a very busy place here for the next 4 or 5 days. And go back to Evansville. They were great hosts. We had a great experience, and it's a great one-time thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to have all of the logistics involved with that and doing it again, but it was a great show on their part. And we had some great wrestling. We did some things, and they took some things, some liberties with some things that we kind of liked, and we're going to try to do in our further state championships. But it's always, like you said, it's always good to get to a new place every once in a while. But home is home, and this is a great host site.
And you've talked many times about the relationship you have with Lucas Oil Stadium for the football state champion and Gainbridge Fieldhouse. And I think Indianapolis is a great host. I mean, look at every time the Big Ten championships come back. There's a semifinal of the March Madness here, and Indianapolis does a fantastic job of hosting events. And I've heard people talking about Big Ten championships, and guys on ESPN said, hey, we're not going to California. Have it in Indiana where everybody can get there. And Indianapolis has really put itself on a map for that.
We have done a great job of making athletic participation activities a great event for anybody that participates. I mean, you can walk around down Indianapolis. Everything is right within walking distance, and it is a great venue for any championship competition. That's why the NCAA Final Four is here quite often. As a matter of fact, Division I, II, and III are here this year. And that's not by accident. That's by happenstance, by the work that the people downtown do. The Indiana Sports Corporation, and of course the Big Ten. And we don't shirk our responsibilities either. I think we put on a great show all the time in all of our state finals.
And certainly when it comes to these two venues that you're talking about, it certainly ultimately benefits them as well. There's a lot of people who come here and have never been to a Pacers game. Yes. They show up for the first time. They know where to park. They know what it looks like, and they're probably 10 times more likely to buy a ticket to a Pacers game or to go to a Colts game than they would have been if they never showed up.
Yeah, this is less threatening than coming to a Pacers or a Colts game. And you can, like you said, you can find your way around. There are people help you around. And then the next time you come back for a Pacers or a Colts game, it's a lot more comfortable.
Robert Furley, our second time back at the Girls State Finals at the Corteva Coliseum at the Fairgrounds. That is a very good facility. I mean, I think the event fit that really well. Does that seem to be the future home of that going forward, or are you just kind of on the edge yet on that?
Well, I can tell you this. I liked it for the first couple of years. I loved the it has a great atmosphere because it fits. But I'm fearful and hopeful at the same time that we will outgrow that venue. We're getting real close to capacity in that venue, and that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
That would be a very good thing to have that be a standing room only facility for a while, or can't buy any more tickets because they've sold out. We're getting there. But then that will present some other challenges as to where and when we could have the girls' state final.
Yeah, I'm sure it's certainly not easy to have the IHSAA high up on the Pacers' priority list of weekend dates, right? I mean, that's got to be difficult to be able to schedule around. This, this tournament is on this date, and it's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
And obviously, we saw that in Evansville. You had to move venues because you weren't going to change the date.
Absolutely.
So the options are either going to be to move it here or to move the date for the girls' season.
Absolutely.
I think the way you have the girls' season now works as well as it can when it comes to the rest of the IHSAA calendar. Obviously, we've talked a lot about the differences in Fridays and Saturdays, but that's great to hear that that the attendance was so high, and that eventually.
And we're the sport is growing, and when we talk about capacity, we talk about going from a 3-week tournament to perhaps a 4-week tournament with enough schools and enough wrestlers. That will get here quickly. And so we're already starting that plan of what we're going to do when we get to those numbers and we reach those capacities. And so when we get there, we'll already have a plan. We'll already have a way to make it work, and we'll certainly move forward.
I think your only downside with Corteva is, like you said, here you can walk out, you can walk across the street to go to a restaurant.
Yes.
At Corteva, at the fairgrounds, it's kind of not around a lot of stuff. I think that's the only downside. But I think the vendors, the food services in there, I saw everybody seem really pleased with the food that they got. The pricing was good. I just heard a lot of positive things about it.
It's the fairgrounds. People go there in the summer, and it's the same folks. It's good food, and it's a great way to spend your time. They know what they're doing with respect to accommodations with food services and with concessions. That not an issue. And but again, we're talking about capacity, and at some point we're going to outgrow that. We're hopeful to outgrow that facility and then move on.
Now, you were talking about the Pacers playing here on Sunday. That reminds me that our Sunday show is going to be on YouTube live on Sunday because you guys have the boys basketball draw carried by WZBD, and we'll replay our show on Monday. Just a reminder to our listeners out there. And we actually took it upon ourselves to work with Jason and Heath last Sunday, and we broadcast the entire bracket reveal on 92.7 FM.
Yes, I did hear that. That's
and I don't know. I can't tell you how many people texted me and said, "Oh my gosh, I heard it on the radio. That was so great," because that maybe they were driving or something like that, and it worked well. So kudos to everybody at your staff at the IHSAA. And I also had written down. I was going to give you an opportunity. We talk a lot about Jason and about Heath and, of course, about Commissioner Neidig, but you got a lot of other people that work up there on the north side of Indianapolis that put a lot of time into. I didn't know if you wanted to mention any other names as far as who puts in a lot of time for this weekend.
Well, there are 21 of us in that office, and it's all hands on deck when we have our state championships. We had a board meeting today, so we had 19 board members in. 3 hours of business there, and then we packed the truck up on Wednesday. It came over on Thursday. We were here at 6 o'clock this morning with Brandon Taylor and his crew unloading the trucks and getting everything ready to go. At some point, we do a count of the number of people it takes to put on this state finals, and we're over 300. That is an amazing number, but it's also a celebration of the sport of wrestling because even though we need 300 people, there are another 150 who want to do and be a part of it. And so that lends itself to the understanding that it's really a big deal here. And I would hate to mention people by name because I would miss someone, and then I'd have to answer that. But it is a huge effort. It's a lot of people involved, and these folks do it because they want to, and they're proud of the wrestling, and they're proud of what we do here with respect to Coaches Association, our wrestlers, and our schools.
And we always want to make sure that we thank you for giving us front row seats to the best accommodations. And with the rearrangement of Bankers Life a few years ago, we used to sit on the media row. Now we're up high where the rest of the IHSAA broadcast crew sits, and we appreciate the ability to broadcast from the best possible locations.
Not a problem. You guys are great. As I said before, you guys are great supporters of what we do, and you're great supporters of the kids in Northeast Indiana, and they are certainly entitled to your support, and you guys get what you get.
Well, you know this is the #1 rated wrestling talk show in the state of Indiana, correct?
I did not know this.
It's the only one. It's the only one, Robert.
Before I forget, last question for you, Robert. Tomorrow you get to honor your outstanding official of the year.
Yes.
And he's a guy that's really important to the three of us, if you want to say some words about JD
has long been he was a great wrestler, both in high school and college, became a great coach at North Montgomery, and then transitioned into being an official and has done a wonderful job as an official. This recognition for JD with respect to Official of the Year goes beyond what he does on the mat. It's also all the things he's done to grow the officiating part of wrestling and getting kids to become officials and mentoring those folks when they become officials. And so he's done a great job in all areas of wrestling, but specifically the recognition is what he's done for officiating.
Well, Commissioner Falcons, we certainly appreciate you taking the time to rush down here. We want to very much thank Jason Willie for getting us set up here in this spot.
All it cost us was a shirt.
That's right. All it cost you was a shirt.
Yeah.
Perfect. We look forward to seeing you around this weekend, and have fun this weekend.
Well, we will have fun, and thank you guys for what you do, and this is going to be exciting. We've got some great matchups early this evening, so folks, get here early and enjoy the action.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
With that, let's do a round of commercials. Back right after this.
Locally owned and operated by Shane Reynolds and family, DDD Maintenance and Repair is your place to go for heavy-duty truck and diesel engine repair. Located just outside of Monroe, DDD Maintenance and Repair also offers sand and glass blasting for all of your surface restoration projects. Whether you're looking to get your truck or diesel engine to run like new, or your metal restoration project to look like new, we have a blast renewing the past. Give Shane and the guys a call at 223-5442. That's DDD Maintenance and Repair.
Renowned around the Midwest for his skills and his creative abilities, Nate Bowers and the team at Bowers Paint Studio in Decatur work with a wide range of clients, from collision repair to custom paint jobs for classic cars and motorcycles. Located on Monroe Street on the west side of Decatur, Bowers is your place for body work too, whether it's getting your ride back on the road or finally getting that classic car, the paint job you've always wanted. Stop by or give Nate a call to put the best in the business to work for you.
Hello, I am Ben Leakty, native of Adams County, and just like me, First Bank of Bern takes pride in calling Adams County home. I enjoy helping individuals like you realize their dream of owning a home. With our local expertise, personalized decision-making, and unwavering support, First Bank of Bern is committing to making your mortgage loan journey easy. So if you're in search of a home loan, trust your hometown bank, the First Bank of Bern. First Bank of Bern, member FDIC, equal opportunity lender.
Welcome back to the lobby of the Gainbridge Fieldhouse. We're joined now by a couple of the officials that are working this weekend, Kevin Troy and Josh Howard. And guys, I did this tournament 2 years back in the 90s, and I tell you what, I know as an official, the excitement for you guys today is on a different level than the wrestlers. The wrestlers, there's some nerves and anticipation, but you guys have responsibility, and I think the responsibility weighs heavy on a lot of guys, and you have to come with your game face on and ready to go today.
We do, but we also just have a lot of fun at this. I mean, just speaking for myself, I always have a blast down here, whether I'm on the mat or not. But.
Well, if I remember back in the 90s, I was coaching at Ron Colley, and I remember having you on my mat, and I was yelling at you.
Yeah.
I did not like that call you made.
I don't remember it because you know, as referees, we had to be elephants. You have to have a short, not opposite of elephants. You have to have very short memory.
Yes, you do. So,
but now as you're a referee, you think back to those things you yelled as a coach, and you think, you know, should I have really been yelling those things as a coach now that I'm a referee?
I was a jerk back then. Yes, I've matured.
Yeah.
I'm happy to say so.
But it's one of those things. This is a big weekend. You come down here, you spend a lot of time, you spend a lot of effort, and I can assure you that when I came down here, I did not make money on that weekend.
Oh.
That making money was not the reason you came down here, because you lost out on it by the time you got paid and everything like that. But the responsibility and the honor to be selected as IHSAA official, and you usually get a jacket or something with your little name on it, and you write it, and mine's in a hanging in a closet right now, and it's so old that probably didn't fit me anymore. But I still have one.
And also working with some guys, like I work with Kevin a lot, but there are some guys you don't work with during the season. You get to see them at this, and that's about the only time. So that's something to look forward to also. And
it's one of those things you and I, all of you guys have known, sometimes you drive 35 minutes, 45 minutes, you get to a match, and you have a dual meet, and you got 3 or 4 forfeits, and it takes longer to weigh in than a match wrestles, and then you drive home. I mean, those matches are not fun to do, but you look forward to this weekend to know I'm going to be around the guys that I really got to be good friends with. You only see them once a year. If you're a guy from Fort Wayne and you got an official friend from Evansville, you don't see those guys. You got a guy from the region, you got a guy. I mean, you don't see those guys a lot. But it's a good weekend to enjoy and get back. And I know that even if you're not refereeing, a lot of those guys get jobs, weigh-in supervisors, supervisors on the floor, guys running tables, things like that. It still brings you in to be part of this event.
Yeah, and Kevin was helping with making sure all the weigh-in stuff was coordinated with Frankie, so he had his hand in that too. So, but yeah, it's nice to see all these guys in one place.
Who are our supervisors for this weekend?
We have Jimmy Russell, Chuck Barnett, and Josh Mavesix.
Okay, and I will be very quick to point out that during the semi-state that we covered, I thought that the two guys that worked that were very present. Things happen. They were there.
Yeah,
you were one of them, right?
No, I wasn't a supervisor. I was
Steve
working
Young?
It was Steve Zimbo and Kenny Young.
Kenny Young.
At Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
They did a really good job.
And it's one of those things that if a coach started to get on somebody, and I actually had a match, you had a match, and a coach came out and you told him to go sit down, and he wasn't sitting down. He wasn't having enough. Next thing you know, Kenneth Young was there and pushed him back in the chair, and it takes the pressure off you. It's like, I don't have to deal with that.
Yep.
I got a match here, and I'm going to focus on that, and this guy giving me the lip that I don't need. I told him to sit down. He's still there, John, because for some reason he thought that had some bearing on the match, and that I think the supervisor's role is there to get those guys back where they belong and say, look, this is what we're going to do now. We're going to clean this up.
Yeah, and it allows us to just focus on the wrestlers. And we don't have to worry about the coaches behind us. We can focus on the wrestlers in front of us, which is difficult enough, but.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you realized that as a coach you're a jerk, and as an official you're not.
Yes, I have meddled. Even as an official. So.
You've grown.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, we thank you guys for coming in and sitting in with us and having this interview. We wish you luck this weekend, and I just have fun and have a great weekend.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
With that, let's do a round of commercials back with the next segment right after this.
The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home is honored to serve the community we love and live in. Locally owned and operated by Ryan Hirschy and Eric Zelt, we understand that each family we serve and each life lived tells a unique story. Our goal is to offer comfort, care, and dignity to all who entrust their loved ones to our care. We are proud to call Adams County our home and look forward to serving you for generations to come.
Hello, this is Joel from your local hometown Packaged Liquors. Packaged Liquors provides the best selection of domestic, import, and craft beers in Z-Lane. With locations in Decatur, Monroe, Bern, and Markle, you're always just a short drive away from picking up the perfect last-minute gift or just the right six-pack to watch the game with friends. You're never a stranger when you walk through the doors, and our smiling staff never has a problem giving you a recommendation when you're not sure what it is you need. Stop in at one of our 4 locations and see what hometown service looks like. Packaged Liquors, it's where your friends shop.
If you're serious about taking your wrestling to the next level, then Warrior RTC Wrestling Club is the place to be. Every Sunday at 4:30 and Wednesday at 6, boys and girls from different elementary, middle, and high schools come together to build skills, confidence, and lifelong friendships. With high-level experienced coaches and a positive training atmosphere, every Warrior learns to work hard and have fun doing it. Whether you're chasing your first medal or your next state title, Warrior RTC will help you in your relentless pursuit of self-improvement. Visit online at warriorrtc.com to learn more about the year-round wrestling opportunities and train like a champion.
Welcome back once again to the lobby of the Gainbridge Fieldhouse. And Dane, I tell you what, you've lined up some really good guests for us this morning. And I think probably our favorite guest, we have him on multiple times a year, is the commissioner. And he speaks so highly of us. I don't know. Does he really like us as much as he says he does, or just have to do that because we put him on the air?
Maybe you just got to be that diplomatic when you're in charge of things.
I tell you what, though,
he's right. There are hundreds of people who make this weekend go, and people have differing opinions about how the tournament could be set up or whatever. But as far as how the tournament is run, they're trying to make it as enjoyable an experience as possible. And I think the attendance this weekend is going to speak to how good of an event this is.
You know, I mean, Josh, you said that you're kind of used to what they do in Michigan. How does the state tournament run in Michigan compare to what Indiana does?
Well, they have one less round, so as far as getting to state, but then the state tournament run very similar to how it is here in Indiana, and they do have classes. That's one thing we don't have. So I always like coming to Indianapolis to watch it, because if you miss the action on one of the 4 mats, maybe you saw it out of the corner you're at. I now look at 16 mats, and you're trying to you get to see very few of the head-to-heads that you want to, or you kind of have to walk around. So I always like coming to Indianapolis. It's much more enjoyable. And
I will be the first one to say there are no bad seats in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. You can see every match from every seat. I don't care if you're in the very top
and
row.
Especially now that they've reconfigured the mats. I think it is better. There was a time when if you sat on the end and you were close to mat 1 and you were looking down at mat 4, you couldn't see a whole lot. But now I think that's changed too.
That's what the Jumbotron's for.
That's right. We want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors, both for this show and for the entire weekend. I know I got a nice text from Rhonda Reynolds, who is listening. DDD Maintenance and Repair, a big part of what we do, covering Adams Central throughout the year, and we're very, very thankful for that. We're very thankful for the support of Brad Weber and his family, for their support of this show and their support of high school athletics throughout our community. Had a good talk with Brad last week about the direction of the football program at Belmont. I know Coach Blaker is planning on listening in this weekend. Really excited about his quarterback taking part. How cool is that for him to come into the job? It's going to be a tough job with Belmont's long losing streak, but what an athlete to have at the helm and to be able to run the offense and those types of things. So we're really excited about that as well. Well, it's time to talk about your homework assignments. I gave you guys a task, and I intentionally separated it so that Josh couldn't see Rex's storylines and Rex couldn't see mine and vice versa. So we're going to run through those today and just kind of talk about what we are looking at individually for this weekend. And, when it comes to storylines to watch, I think my first storyline is the ever-changing dynamics of our semi-state against the other semi-states. And one of the big things that dictates that is really medal winners. How many medal winners come from Fort Wayne? Obviously, some people like to look at champs, but I think it's a better overall picture to look at how many medals. Every semi-state should, in theory, have 28 medal winners. In theory, your champ and your runner-up should advance, and that'd give you 2 per weight class. I have the breakdown for you guys. Obviously, the toughest semi-state is the Evansville semi-state, right? And Fort Wayne drew Evansville at 106, 113, 157, and 285. So only 4 weight classes. Obviously, there's 14. So if you break that in 3, that'd be 5, 5, and 4, right? So not anything out of the ordinary.
So you mean the chances of having your Fort Wayne semi-state get knocked out on Friday is only one of 4
is a little,
from the Evansville?
Probably a little bit higher at 106, 113, 157. But I do think that Fort Wayne probably gains, because if there's a weight out there year after year that doesn't follow the trend, it's probably 285.
Yeah.
285 is often where things are split up a little bit differently. And so really, I think Fort Wayne got pretty lucky as far as drawing just 613 and 57.
Well, the lightweight, especially when Delta comes out of the Jay County Regional and comes into Fort Wayne Semi-State and wins it with their 5 guys, and they're all 44 and under. I mean, the Hammers from the Fort Wayne Semi-State are going to make noise here this weekend. They're going to place, and they're going to go to the semis probably.
Now, the Newcastle Semi-State drew Fort Wayne also in just 4 weight classes. That was at 32, 38, and then up at 90 and 215. What that leaves then is that Fort Wayne drew East Chicago Central 6 times, and the big argument over the last couple of months is that East Chicago dropped below Fort Wayne in the sort of team state ranking of semi-states, and the East Chicago people have taken a little bit of an exception to that. And so what greater way to settle the score than to put us against them in 6 out of 14 weight classes, nearly half of them. I think if Fort Wayne's going to defend their title as not the worst, I guess is the title we're looking for, then, hey, let's have at it. Let's take out those East Chicago boys.
You know, I think the other 3 semi-states have always looked at Fort Wayne as a red-haired stepchild and thinking, you know, they're not that good. But every year there's a couple of state champions might come out of there, and that semi-state has gotten stronger. You can look at all your statistics, but you get a gut feel when you made a statement that the Jay County Regional is the weakest of the ones coming in. I looked at you funny. It's like, well, that's what the stats say. And I don't care what the stats say. When I see hammers come through there and win that regional, you know that regional is tough. And there's guys in the Fort Wayne semi-state looking at those other regionals going, I don't want to draw Jay County.
So throughout the night tonight, we will be keeping track of the number of Fort Wayne medal winners. I don't think that Fort Wayne is probably going to make it to 28, but maybe the thing to watch a little bit closer is, can we not finish last? Can we have more medal winners than East Chicago Central or maybe even Newcastle? I think Evansville is going to dominate the medal count and probably the champions count. But there's some other things to.
So that was the Dane Fuelling storyline.
That was one of my storylines.
I'll even piggyback on that. You know, a lot of times when we were at semi-state, we're talking about, do we have a finalist? Do we have a champ? And I think that script's getting flipped. I could see a handful of guys from our semi-state in the finals, and it's always like it tends to go Evansville or Newcastle, or it's like, well, they're gonna. We might have placers out of Fort Wayne, but we're not going to hit the finals hard. Fort Wayne came prepared this year, and I can see a handful of finalists.
There are some Fort Wayne guys got some pretty good draws.
Agreed. Our next thing, I got 2 things here to watch from Josh, and he asked the question, is there going to be a new king in the team race? And you pointed out that if Center Grove pull off the win, this will be the first time they've ever won the state title.
Yeah, it's crazy to think, Center Grove's been kind of a pillar, in boys wrestling, but they haven't eclipsed that team title as far as the individual tournament. And so, they won semi-state last week over Brownsburg by what I would think is a pretty good margin when you're at a semi-state level. I think it was like 30-some points. And Brownsburg didn't have the day they were wanting to, but, Center Grove looks to be peaking. And to bring their first title home, I think it might happen this weekend. And you know what? I like it from a fan's perspective because the last couple of years it's been Crown Point, Brownsburg. I want to see a new king, and it helps parity. And you know what? If Brownsburg and Crown Point finish second and third to a Center Grove, you know what? They're going to come back even better next year. And you know what? It makes the sport, fun to watch.
And don't forget that it was Center Grove Crown Point who won the team state event in 4A.
Yeah.
So there's having that team race, I think, is always important for the atmosphere. Basically, everybody in the arena who's really paying attention, I think at some point picks a side that they're rooting for. They decide, well, I want this team to win. Most people are going to want a new champion compared to last year. Last year's tournament was impressive for Brownsburg. I think a lot of people almost got tired of it. It was like, ugh. There's another Brownsburg winner. It got to the point last year where people were rooting against Brownsburg just because they wanted to see him lose a match.
Which you don't want because those kids are great wrestlers. I mean, you have a Jake Hockaday, a four-timer in there, and it's like you can't look at those guys and think, I want to root against those guys because they're in school. I look at this as an individual sport. The team race is, everybody can hang their hat on, and a group of guys might get some rings at the end. But it's that individual championship that I think everybody focuses on because if you come down and watch 1 or 2 or 6 guys and you're focused on an individual championship, you know that if you're carrying one guy down from South Adams, you're not going to battle in the team title. That's not part of your weekend. Your weekend is what's my guy going to do to advance to the level that he needs to get to get a medal.
Well, and I think the one thing I like about this tournament is the team race because you might have a guy that he's not a top 4 guy, but if you can have him get into that 5 through 8, that really helps your team out. And so, when you get to this level, you have the 1A and 2A schools that maybe only brought a couple guys at best. But watching the bigger schools, the Jake Hockadays, shine for Brownsburg, but they also need the guys that are ranked, 10 through 15 or 10 through 20 to step up in order to get that title. And so, they have to pull off upsets too, so it's kind of fun to watch.
Those bonus points you're going to gain in those wrestle backgrounds are key, and usually if you get those guys at the top, they're not wrestling in those wrestle backgrounds. You need those guys to come through and do some of that cleanup work at the bottom.
Yeah.
And now your other storyline, Josh, was an interesting one. I liked it. we were talking about medal counts earlier and thinking from a Jay County regional perspective and a Fort Wayne semi-state perspective, but you're looking at a different medal count this weekend.
Yeah. I kind of last couple years has kind of put a weird feeling as I left the tournament. It's like, man, 4 or 5 schools really dominate the medals, and I kind of think the script's going to get flipped a little bit this year. I think 1A and 2A, I'm not going to say they're going to dominate the medals, but I think they're under 10 or 15% as far as the medals. You look at, I wrote down Rochester, North Miami, Belmont, Milan, Delta, Southmont, Hanover Central, Garrett. I would be shocked if a lot of those teams don't have a couple placers in their program. And so when you do that, maybe we're looking at out of the 112, if we can get a quarter of them from 1A and 2A, that's huge because we haven't had that in the years past. And, there's guys like Jackson Bradley, they're only bringing 2 guys, but both those guys can make a lot of noise. Eastside, that's another guy. We're not used to the Noah Weavers. It's kind of an anomaly being a state champ. And so I think the 1A and 2A, this might be their year to show out, and I think the brackets fell out right for them.
Like last year, you get Switz County gets their first ever state place winner. It's like, who's going to be this year? Is it going to be one of these new schools, kind of a new startup school that gets their first guy to the state finals, and he maybe get a medal tonight? I mean, that's what you look at. And you get the big picture of the big powerhouse schools, but where the real pride comes from is that small contingency that comes in. And some of those small schools that have 1 or 2 guys they're going to bring 300-400 fans with them because those people want to come watch his kid get his first ever school state medal.
Yeah, and that's, a lot of our demographic is around the 1A and 2A schools. We don't have many 5A and 6A schools in the Fort Wayne semi-state. And so we get to see a lot of these 1A and 2A guys the whole season. We went to team state. We know a lot of those teams have hammers that are going to make some noise this weekend.
We also saw that they got smart and they realized that the 1A schools followed their teams way better than the 3A schools, and they put the 1A into the gym and could seat more people and put the 3A in the field house. And the 1A people made noise. They made sure that Franklin community understood, hey, we bring more fans. We need to be in the big gym, and that's what they did.
Well, how many 3A and 4A schools have high school wrestling weekly radio programs playing on the Dollar General
0.
at home?
0.
Yeah. Got a text from RG Tebow. Of course, she's listening at work, and those are the kinds of things that we just love.
And my wife said that she couldn't see me at first, so I'm going to wave to my wife.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Okay, now, everybody who listens to the program knows that it doesn't take much to get Rex Brewer choked up. It's one of the things that I really appreciate about him. It doesn't matter if it's the loss of a close friend or a longtime listener or just like a crazy moment, like when you think about Duke Meyer's big win in the semifinals. I mean, we were just in tears. Mallory Winter's 4th title brought Rex to tears and me pretty darn close. So Rex's storyline, I'm going to read to you.
Oh, man, the whole thing?
Because I just felt like Rex might get too choked up. So he wrote, if someone asked Rex Brewer what the storyline for the Wrestling State Finals was for him, he'd probably have several angles for the weekend. It would take him back to a 16-year-old kid walking into the gym at Southport High School just as scared as could possibly be. Having wrestled at some big events while growing, you'd think it would be easy for him, but that was far from the reality. The weekend was an absolute blur that year. Every match, every move, every emotion seemed bigger than life. And he says you hope for great things and you live with the results. The weekend defines your life for the next 15 years until you return into a new role, and that of as an official. You say you were 30 years old when you got the
30 years, 6 months.
This new role can define the lives of the young athletes for the rest of their lives. Once again, you hope for great things and live with the results. The memories made during the officiating of the state finals series hold special memories as well, as we heard here earlier in the show. Officials see the finals in a different light than your average fan. They take that job, that responsibility awfully seriously. As the years go by, life leads you down different paths. If you play your cards right, you might just come back and be lucky enough to get to broadcast this event. Rex wrote, in 20-plus years, the storyline has taken lots of twists and lots of turns at the state finals. 4-time state champs, upset state champions, freshman state champions. From the odds-on favorites to the underdogs, I know they all feel what the 16-year-old kid did 48 years ago when it was me. Everyone in the building has their own storyline, from the Bruce Teamies, who were there for the boys' finals as well as the girls' finals in the arena, that just loved the sport and would not miss the state finals in Indy for anything, even if it means figuring out how to buy tickets out online. I always remember when we first switched to buying the tickets online, and poor Bruce didn't have a phone.
His flip phone.
Had to find somebody else to help him out. Rex continues, be it the moms, the dads, the boyfriends, the girlfriends. The weekend holds a place in all their hearts. From the past wrestlers, officials, fans, and broadcasters, the feeling is indescribable when the Walk of Champions begins, when the Adams Central Flying Jets start the parade. Let these athletes soak in that moment. You blink your eyes, and some 50 years have passed you by, but you always remember what the impact the IHSAA State Wrestling Finals has had on your life. That's the most beautiful thing we'll hear this weekend, Josh.
Yeah, just as you're reading that, a lot of, memories, wrestlers popped into my mind. And, I said it last year during the broadcast. Sometimes, we as fans, I've been in a new light broadcasting, but we discredit people that have made it to this tournament like, well, he's just a qualifier. It's like, man, it's so tough to step on the mat. In South Adams at Belmont, it's tough to step on the mat when you're wrestling some school that you're going to beat by 84-0. But the fact that you do that and you make it here, I tip my cap to you. And then it's always so neat to see the community and the people. The friendships I've made off of just coming to this tournament, it'll hold a lifetime. And it's one of those things that I talk to people. I've been coming down. People say I've been coming down 25 plus years because they know what this tournament holds. They know what this stage is, and they just want to be a part of it and cheer people on. It's just a special tournament.
I remember talking to Joe Rubel, dad, and he said, I gets down his first 2 years and makes it to the finals and has two tough matches, and his buddy said, you'll go back and you'll win it next year. And he said, they don't understand how hard it is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we celebrate the razor thin, the upsets in this. But it's just, I tip my cap to anyone that's made it here, whether you drew the number one kid in the nation or you drew a kid with the losing record. I don't know if we have one in the bracket this year. They're all good. They all deserve the respect. And, I tip my cap to Adams County because Adams County always has done a great job of coming down and supporting their wrestlers and cheering them on through wins and losses because eventually, like Rex said, you'll be 20 years down the road and hopefully that passes on where we're cheering on kids that are in the youth programs right now when they're in high school.
Well, I'm watching kids and grandkids of guys that I knew that I watched or either refereed for or with, and their kids are in here now, and kids are here, and a lot of their kids are coaches, and their grandkids are wrestling. So if you stick around long enough, you see every aspect of it.
Yeah, and I'm not there yet, but even when I watch Sam Wolpert, sit the corner on I'm like, my body cannot do that. I tip my cap to you, and so it's always neat to see these Adams County guys just show out, and the fans show out, and they do a great job. And that's what Robert Falcon says a lot of this weekend's about is just coming together as a community and having a good time and celebrating wrestling.
And certainly this building, we could talk about it until they tear this place down. Adams County claimed the first title in this building, and that's something that
as well as
that they're never going to take away from us.
As well as Market Square.
As the previous building.
We didn't go back to the 1900s when they started at Southport.
We've been talking about a little thing that I said last week. I shared it with you guys in the group text, and it reminds me of what you're talking about with the Adams County guys. People don't care because it's important here. It's just another tournament. But I think it is important because people do care. So many people back home care what happens that it just builds up our Adams County guys even more. There's a lot of people, unfortunately, who will come here and barely get any press, or maybe the first press they got all year is because they made it here. It's the first time their name appeared in the newspaper. And I think it's the exact opposite in Adams County. Once you reach that level, and people have been talking about you all year long, it's just that beautiful validation of how hard you've worked and the respect that you get from people back home.
And as broadcasters, most times we don't think how far we reach out. But I was at the AC tournament when that the day that you and I didn't have to work on the radio and we were at a wrestling tournament anyways. I was talking to one of the beer boys and he said I was hauling cattle down the road and I was listening to you do the girls' state finals on the radio. It's like, or it was on the radio or on YouTube. But I mean, there's so many people, the Margie Tebows of the Dollar General listening. There's people all over the place that just have it on out in the workshop or wherever they're at and listen to it because it's Adams County to them and they understand how wrestling affects everybody in it.
Yeah.
And I can say just from my point of view, I know we cover a lot of high school, but we like going to the middle school. And, someone said, well, why are you here? I was at a middle school meet, and they said, well, why are you here? And I said, because I see a lot of these kids, and I'm going to see them in the future, and I want to cheer them on starting now. And so, it's just kind of a neat thing that Adams County does. And, I don't want to start covering middle school wrestling, but, it's one of those things that I like cheering them on from a younger age. And, Belmont, Adams Central, it's fun to go watch them and then see them here and say, I remember when you're in 7th grade, and you know what? You got thrown in this or you made that mistake, and look how far it taught you to become a state finalist.
We are toying with the idea of a midsummer show just to catch up on some of the summer wrestling.
Certainly, a lot of the middle school action. The AC middle school invites is a big deal. The conference championships for both of our middle school conferences are a big deal. But I want to take a moment for everybody out there listening to let everybody know that I'll speak for both of you. The enormity of the responsibility that we have this weekend is not lost on any of the three of us, and it is certainly an honor to have the privilege to sit in the chair and to call these matches to everybody back home.
And just like that, you mentioned something. Eugene Grody said he's working on a chair in his wood shop, and Tony Abbott said he's in West Virginia listening to us. So we are far-reaching. I don't know if we've reached the international barrier this weekend. I know that we had somebody listening from Nassau in the Bahamas for a semi-state weekend, but we do what we do.
I'm sure someone will chime in. Well, let's keep going on our storylines here. Just based on what you wrote, Rex, I had a couple of questions written out. How does each one of these young men respond to the moment? That's one of the hard things. The good thing is everybody in the corner for our Adams County teams especially. Like, if you want to talk to somebody about how to react in the state finals, you talk to Tim Myers. I mean, he's got plenty of experience. For Adams Central, you talk to, Eric Myers, who's been in all of these situations. Landis has been around for forever. South Adams kid wants to know what it's like to wrestle at the state finals. Why don't you talk to the guy who wrestled under the lights? Yeah. They're not going to be lost on words of advice.
The technical skills, all that goes out the window. It's attitude and preparation right now. You know how to hit a double leg and a single leg, but when you know in your brain that you got to pull the trigger and fire that thing, because when you get in this big moment, that's when you tend to freeze up. And if you come out here today with confidence and you're firing all cylinders and you're hitting it hard, that's one thing. If you come out here and you're a bit tentative, 10 years from now, you're going to look back and go, I should have did this, and it's gone. You got 6 minutes to make it happen if you're going to get it done in regulation. And if you don't pull the trigger when you need to, you can regret things real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, and, the margins at this level are razor thin. I was in a group chat last night, and someone sent me the video of Spencer Lee getting thrown to his back by Matt Ramos. And he said, just remember, anything's possible. And that's the reminder. You could have a guy that's a 3 or 4 time state champ. I was looking at some of the draws, and I remember back to Gunset wrestling Chad Red. And everyone thought, well, Chad Red's going to be in the finals. And they blew it off, and it's like, well, he's got to wrestle his first round match. And I can't remember the situation of it as a cradle or whatever, but, he got put to his
There
back.
Was a moment. There was a moment there.
He did give up, I think, the opening takedown. It was like, okay, so, it's possible. And if you come in here as a wrestler, a coach thinking, hey, you can do it, the odds are you're going to do it. And so the preparation, it's all mental when it gets to this point.
Continuing down that, I wrote in a response to Rex's, I guess, that the weekend is and always will be a celebration of just so many different people from so many different walks of life. around the state of Indiana, and I appreciate that as well. You talk about region guys. You talk about guys who live down along the Ohio Valley and everywhere in between, small town, big town Indianapolis. But the assignment for everybody out there listening this weekend is to enjoy it, because once the weekend's over, it just turns into a memory for everybody, one that you'll continue to have 48 years later. Yeah, we've talked all season long about not wishing away the days of the season, because eventually you're going to come to the spot where the season ends tomorrow.
Our good friend Doc Doan said he wanted to wrestle the state finals on one mat, so he gets to see every single kid wrestle.
Well, my storylines for this weekend are one of them's Team State related. I wanted to run through and make sure that everybody knew what the status was. 6 teams will automatically qualify for Team State next year. Of course, Crown Point, Center Grove, Brownsburg, they're in. No problems there. Mater Dei actually has an outside chance of catching Brownsburg and joining them. So really it's a big 4 when it comes to qualifications. In 5th sit Indianapolis Cathedral, and they're safe. The big question is, will Zionsville win enough matches this afternoon to catch Noblesville? Zionsville will need several wins, and Noblesville will need to get shut out of the medal count for Zionsville to claim that extra win. Now, the reason that I kind of bring that up, as we see the Center Grove guys walk by us, I think, is that Zionsville in the last couple of years has chosen not to be in consideration. So would them automatically qualifying allow them to participate, or would they decline and then the spot would go to Noblesville? So those are some backstories. If we run into anybody from Zionsville, maybe we'll ask them.
I don't discount anybody that declines to be in the tournament, because you need to understand your own team to say, I don't deserve this, or I'm not prepared for this, or I don't think I can give a good enough showing to represent my school at that level. I don't have any problem with somebody declining.
Especially with talking about the Big 4.
Yeah.
So we see Coach Swain trying to make his way into the arena. Now in 3A, the teams that have already qualified are Franklin, Lowell, Columbus East, New Pal, Bloomington South, and Roncalli. Not really any surprises there, correct? But also automatic qualifications already clinched for Coach Reason at East Noble, which I think is awesome, and Coach Lee at Jasper. He called me yesterday. He said, I want to make sure I'm reading this right. Are we in? I said, yeah, Coach, you've made it. And he was just overjoyed. They're super, super excited. He's going to be here this weekend as they have a state qualifier. What did he tell us last week on Sunday? They hadn't had one for maybe 3 or 4 years,
yeah,
I believe. He's going to stop in and talk to us, and they're already talking about how they're going to change their schedule, what it's going to look like. He was asking about venues for next year, and that's what Team State to me is all about, is those teams working hard towards a goal and then seeing the goal get accomplished and what it means for you going forward for next year already.
Well, I think some teams take for granted that they're in it. They've been in it so long, it's just automatic to them. Those teams on the outside looking in, what do I have to do to change things to get my numbers to the point where I can qualify or be considered? I mean, it's a different mindset. If you're a guy that's been there every year since the team date started, you don't think about it because you know you're going to be there. But if you're not, what do you have to do to change your schedule to get there?
Now, these are not finalized, as the Coaches Association is going to depend on the official IHSAA enrollment numbers. Now, in the past, there's really been no difference between what the DOE puts out and what the IHSAA uses. So there is a disclaimer here that there is a potential for 1 or 2 teams to switch divisions depending on how it goes. So on the outside looking in 3A, traditional teams over the last couple of years like Floyd Central and New Haven, Terre Haute South, Plainfield's not in, New Albany's not in, East Central, Munster, Decatur Central, Hobart, Mishawaka, all of those teams have participated recently in the past. Now in 2A, then Belmont is leading the way. Hanover Central's in, Southmont are in, and you were talking about your match that you remember with Southmont. Let's not forget that was in 1A.
Yep.
Southmont's qualified automatically in 2A. Heritage Hills also in, New Prairie, Garrett, and Owen Valley also in. And then it looks like the last spot is either going to go to Gibson Southern or to Delta. Now, Delta has enough studs left that they can pass Gibson Southern. But I think they're just about going to have to put like 4 guys in the finals for that to happen. So
that's not out of the question.
I think that the odds-on favorite to get the last automatic spot will be Gibson Southern. And, of course, Gibson Southern's representative is wrestling Belmont's Chuck Farrow today. So we will get a sneak peek at that. And if I remember right.
And that's a kid that had an upset last week over defending state champion.
Yes. And so he's just a junior. So this Deacon Dressler that wrestles Chuck Farrow will be participating most likely in next year's 2A team state. Now in 1A, then the South Adams Starfires have missed out on an automatic spot. The automatic qualifiers will be Adams Central, Northfield, Rochester, Alexandria, Rensselaer Central, Wabash, Bremen, and Monrovia. And so South Adams, Cass, and North Miami all left out without enough points. What will that look like for the South Adams Starfires and with their schedule next year leading up to the vote on the December 20th or 21st or whatever that usually is? There'll probably have to be a period of adjustment there on what that schedule looks like.
Yeah. Well, and it does help their conference. Jay County's always been in the mix for 2A, but you have Adams Central that you're going to see early on in the season. And so you have opportunities to get head-to-head wins. They've seen it at Newcastle with Rossville in the past. And so, they'll have to maybe consider what does it take to be a 1A team state. And, we talk about it so often, and, sometimes I got friends that give me flack, why are you bringing up team state? Well, if you look at, our county, Adams Central, I don't think has missed a year.
Nope.
Belmont has missed 1. And I think South Adams has maybe 12 appearances. And so the list is very, the Adams County teams are in the top 10. I was trying to pull it up, but I would bet they're in the top 10. I saw it earlier this year get posted. We're a staple at 1A and 2A between Belmont, Adams Central, and South Adams. And so it's kind of neat just to reaffirm that. The qualifications, it says, Adams Central, Belmont, South Adams, they're a top team in the 1A and 2A.
And I know that sometimes we have to look at what some people think the merit of the team state has. I mean, does it really mean anything? The IHSAA doesn't sanction it. It means a lot. It means a lot to those small schools that go into the 1A, the 2A, the 3A. I mean, those schools, you cannot come down here today with 1 or 2 kids and be in the team race. You have to have another way to show your level of your participation, and that's team state. Team state's going to do that, and those kids that get in there, you can be a guy that's got a 500 record, and you get a big win in team state and put your team into the championship. I mean, that's the difference, and that's the weight that team state has. And if anybody ever thinks, team state doesn't mean anything, I tend to differ.
Well, and it's been the history, the death draws for team state. It's always like, I don't want to draw Adams Central in the the semis, or I don't want to draw Belmont, because they know that they're historic programs and that they've shown up at this tournament and wrestled tough every year.
My final storyline for the weekend is just a shout out to I know over the course of the last couple of years, especially with this show, we've just grown closer and closer to a lot of the officials because of the relationship that we need to have to be able to pull off a good broadcast. And so I just wanted to give a shout out. Awesome guy in Jim Bopp getting down here to take part as one of the 12 top officials in the state is awesome. I love the fact that Jeremy Aker is here. I think he's an outstanding official. Josh Howard is a wonderful guy who's been going through a lot this year and is so helpful to us and so nice. Also give a shout out to Lonnie Chamberlain, the Adams Central grad.
Chambo.
And of course, JD. What he does as an official is 10% of his impact on high school wrestling in Indiana. And most people outside of the Coaches Association probably don't even realize how much work he does and what a mess his desk at home probably looks like because of all the responsibilities that he has. He's just a continual workhorse and has been for decades.
If you talk to Mary Freet, she's talking about what they're doing for ISW and stuff like that. It's always Pat and I and JD, Pat and I and JD, yes. Pat and I and JD. I mean, those are the 3 people that they're the glue that hold Indiana wrestling together.
For sure. And my last question then, and one that we certainly weren't going to ask the commissioner when he was here, but there's a lot of rumors going around about some big changes in the format for the IHSAA tournament, whether that is a shortening by a week, whether that's reclassification, those types of things. Is this the last edition of what we've known for the last 24 years? Or is it all just smoke and mirrors?
He wasn't giving it up.
I don't think he's
when he sat down, and I didn't even think that way, and he automatically is like, yeah, we ain't going to talk about the other stuff.
Don't ask me about it. So, you know, you never know. We've become Cowan fans. It would be so different if Cowan went to a different semi-state than us, or those types of things. But, hey, it's all a lot of fun. So we're getting ready to set up for our overtime period. We'll go back through what to expect here throughout the day for us, and we'll be right back after this.
You hear it all the time. Do you have the right insurance coverage? But are you really taking that question seriously? Josh Book may be stationed in his home office in Noble County, but he's ready to serve you if you're listening to this broadcast, no matter what county you're in, and help you get the best insurance for your farm, business, or home. A proud insurance agent with Farm Bureau Insurance, Josh is ready to have a conversation with you about the rates you're paying and the coverage you're getting. Give him a call and have that important conversation with an experienced Farm Bureau agent today. Find out more at infarmbureau.com.
When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do if they were here? Where is the money coming from? How much should I spend? Do they want burial or cremation? The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home can help you navigate these tough questions. Make your wishes known and allow us to make sure that your wishes are carried out. Call Ryan Hirschy or Eric Zelt at 260-724-7167 to schedule an appointment today.
Shop local. It's a phrase we hear all the time, but for the staff and family at Package Liquors, it means something extra. Package, with locations in Decatur, Monroe, Berne, and Markle, is a local family-owned business that has been serving local communities for decades. We take your support and patronage and return it by supporting local athletes on WZBD and donating to different organizations across Adams County. The next time you're deciding where to shop, shop local. Shop at Package. It's where your friends shop.
Welcome back once again to the lobby of the Gainbridge Fieldhouse, where Josh and Dane and I tend to enjoy this weekend. We could be one of the best seats in the house for to watch this wrestling tournament, and we have all the amenities to roam freely throughout this building, and this is a beautiful building as well as, you know, when we do the football state championships from Lucas Oil Stadium. This is a wonderful facility, and I think the wrestlers in Indiana really should appreciate this building to have our state finals here.
Yeah, I agree with all the sentiments that Robert shared about the relationship the IHSAA has with the big facilities here downtown, and of course it's not really just the facilities, but really the actual Indiana Pacers themselves and the Indianapolis Colts. And I know there's a decent amount of money flowing from those organizations into our high school athletes. I know the Colts have been a big proponent of the push for flag football for the girls, and that's a really cool thing. The IHSAA, for all of the conservatism that they sometimes get critiqued for, have been pretty darn progressive in the last 10 years when it comes to unified track and field, to girls wrestling, to boys volleyball, to all these things that they didn't have to do, right?
Yeah.
They could have just stuck with the model that they've been doing for decades. So they definitely deserve some credit there. So a reminder of what our coverage looks like for the rest of the day. Tomorrow we will have, today we have 2 separate videos. So when we get done with the 285s, we'll go off the air. That video will become archived. And so if you're sitting at home for the rest of the day, you'll need to pick up the new video that says 106 to 144. When we finish that, then we'll go on over to the hangar, and we'll be on Indiana Matt's live broadcast. I think that's a Facebook Live. I don't know if that's YouTube, just Facebook Live. And then tomorrow we have a setup for the quarterfinals and the semifinals in the morning. You will hear the early quarterfinals on the air. Once Matt Conversay is ready to go live at Logansport, they will flip the switch and go to him. We will continue to be broadcasting the entire time on YouTube. I don't think they'll even tell us when we go off. It doesn't matter to us. We will feed some information too, so I know a lot of people that are listening to us will also want to be paying attention to the girls' game, of course. So we'll feed some information to Matt so that if you're unable to do both at the same time, to multitask, that we should be able to bring you some updates. Hopefully we have lots of conflicts and that we got more guys wrestling. And then we'll go off the air. We'll take our lunch break. When we come back, we'll have a separate video for the 3rd, 5th, and 7th place matches. And then we'll go off the air again, and we'll have a new video just for the finals. And we'll try to do our best to provide the best coverage that we can of those championship bouts, whether we got somebody from our area or not in them. We will likely be disrupted by what we hope is a semi-state championship game as well.
That's a bad thing. That's a good thing to have.
It will be a lot of fun. So today, don't forget, we start at 150 pounds. You'll see Dylan Ogg. You'll hear Dylan Ogg wrestle Markel Shelton. Talked to the Maryville coaches last night. They're really excited about him. He's got 31 wins for Maryville. Dylan Ogg 43-2. And hopefully not running simultaneously, Clinton Shepard will take on Sam Wolpert. Shepard, of course, ranked #1 in the state. And, guys, I know a lot of people maybe don't realize this, but Clinton Shepard's a junior, right? I'm just going to throw this out there. I think this is his last state finals. I don't think you see him wrestling next year.
He might pull a Jax Forrest and leave halfway through his senior year and go and wrestle for a big school. He's ranked, I believe Shepard, per my TikTok buddy Riley Bedich, he's ranked #1 in the nation.
And so I got a feeling he enrolls at Penn State next winter and moves on. And so, when you're talking about a high school wrestler who's committed to Penn State, you better realize how special that is, because it takes a lot to get recruited by them. Now, I did just take a look at – go ahead.
And some people don't realize, is this his first or second state appearance? I know he's out last year with the injury. So he's not a household name that people have said, I've got to watch him down at Gainbridge a lot. So it's kind of a neat opportunity.
I did look at the bracket. We will have the very first 2 bouts on Mat 1 and Mat 2 will be Ogg and Wolpert. So we'll have, of course, right away, we'll have 2 matches to call at the very beginning. So Josh and Rex will bring you that one. I'll be down on the floor, I think, for that. Then we go to 157, and we've got Jackson Bradley taking on Micah Tante from Franklin. Coach Tante has 2 sons here wrestling today, and probably at the same time we'll see Chuck Farouk wrestle Deacon Dressler of Gibson Southern. What a cool moment to wrestle at the same state finals as your brother.
Yeah.
There aren't a whole lot of people who can ever say that they've done that, and for Chuck and Henry, that's a really cool thing. Then immediately after that, we'll have Brayson wrestling Charles Barnes of Michigan City. We saw a nice Michigan City contingent make their way here into the lobby, and we really hope that that's a win for Brayson and that he can win his first state medal. And then we'll take a break at 175. We'll come back for the 190s, and we'll have Xavier Palacios taking on Camden Funk of Fishers. He's got 10 losses on the year. And we'll also bring you Jax Litchfield. He'll have Kyle Harden, the Indy University of Indianapolis football commit, who is 38-4 on the year, ranked #3 in the state. No 215s in our area, but we'll come back, and the 285s, we'll have Grady Baker taking on Manford Osborne from Terre Haute North. 41-3, and what a great opportunity for those 2 young men. I know rankings don't mean a whole lot this weekend, but still, ranked 15th and 16th in the state respectively. That's an opportunity for one of those men to, and notice I use the word men, to grab a state medal when a lot of people wouldn't have pegged them to make it. We see Grady's grandparents coming through the metal detectors right now.
Well, we looked at the draw of that, and the hammers, the heavyweight hammers, the big guys are in the top. There's heavyweight, and Joe and Mike talking about it on Guerrilla Radio. Heavyweight could be one of the most exciting weight classes this season because there are so many good guys there, and these just are not your old-fashioned heavyweights. These guys are big and strong and athletic and quick. We had a freshman heavyweight state champion last year. It's almost unheard of, but these guys are so athletic and they are so fun to watch.
When we get to, and of course the heavyweights are at the end of the first session, so there will be a full crowd involved in following them as we see some Belmont Letter Jackets make their way down the escalator here. In the second session then, we won't have anybody local for the first couple of weight classes, but once we get to 126 then, we'll have Dakota Sprunger's tough match against #1 ranked Noel Verduzco of Lowell, 31-6 on the year. And you may think, man, #1, 6 losses on the year. Yeah, he's #1 because he's taken 6 losses on the year. He's been everywhere, wrestled in all the big tournaments, and he's just gotten better and better because of it. Talking to Mike Reiser last night, he said, man, you just can't believe how much better Noel's gotten just from last year. Then we get to, we'll take a break at the 1:32, so we come back at 1:38, and we'll have a rematch from Al Smith when Rex and I had that one. Donald Bowie of Warren Central will take on Henry Farote. That one was 1-1 in the third period, and Henry won on a
locked hands, I think,
on a penalty point or fleeing the mat or something like that. Neither guy got a takedown. I think it's going to have to take a takedown to win it. And as our good friend Ed Pendowski told us on Sunday, it's going to be like watching art, seeing those two guys play their game plans against each other, and going to be a heck of a lot of fun.
I thought he was going to say because he called us a bunch of fish eaters.
And at 1:44 to round out the day, we will have a pair of matches for Zeeland as Aiden Fernandez, the move-in from California from New Prairie, talked to his coaches last night. They both said, if you haven't seen this kid yet, because he wasn't wrestling at the beginning of the season, he is just the most athletic kid. And that New Prairie coaches calling him their most athletic kid is saying something, because they've got
Jeffrey Hivert and Matthew Staples.
and along with their heavyweight as well. So he'll be taking on Parker Barnes of Bluffton. A wonderful story there for Coach Sprunger and Coach Zeiss and the Tigers. And then we'll also have Luke Reed of Valpo, ranked number 3 in the state, taking on our very own Gabe Myers, a sophomore, in the state finals.
Dana, we have to thank the IHSAA as our good friend Jason Willie helped us set up this. I came in and it was the only table that looked like it was set up for us, so I set up here, and it's been a great place to interview people here today. We get to see a little bit of the crowd shot starting to come in a little bit, but it's just about ready to kick off here.
I can't wait. We need to tear down our stuff. We need to move it upstairs. We need to get through security, find the hospitality room for Rex's sake, and then move on. No, I'm just kidding, Rex. I was going to give the commissioner a little jab. I wanted to see if he had any insight on what we're going to have to eat this weekend.
Whatever they put out there, we'll eat.
We'll eat it. That's right.
I don't think we're that picky. So with that, it's another wrap in the books. Stay tuned for our final episode on Sunday evening at 6:30 live once again from the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. You've been listening to High School Wrestling Weekly here on WZBD.